Good morning and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the real estate market in Batumi, Georgia. Now, I like Georgia as a country in general to invest in. Georgia has made a lot of strides in the last 15 to 20 years. And I'm just going to give you some of the great things that's happened. So in Georgia, if you want to buy real estate, there are no barriers to entry as a foreign buyer, as there are in many other countries. Low buy-sell costs are good. There's the economy's been doing amazingly well in Georgia, so it's been growing at an average of 5% for the last 10 years, pre-COVID-19. The debt levels in Georgia are reasonably low, so total government debt to GDP before COVID-19 was 43%, lower than the EU average, much lower than the EU average, much lower than the UK, and much lower than the US. Georgia as well is very pro-business, so in 2019 it was voted as number 7th as best place to do business in the world. Georgia as well is very pro-landlord. And finally, and very importantly as well, is that taxation in Georgia is very low. So rental income tax is only 5% and capital gains tax is only 5%. And indeed, 2 or 3 months back, I did make a video in Tbilisi saying what a great place it is to invest. So a few of you have asked me about Batumi on the Black Sea. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, I don't think Batumi is anywhere near as good as a place to invest as Tbilisi, the capital. And I'm going to give you 10 reasons why. The first one is that Batumi being on the Black Sea and not too much around, there's a lot of land that you can build on around Batumi. So in the future, I think you're going to have even more apartments. And I think this may actually depress the price going forward, or at least it will give limited scope for growth in price. Number 2, already there is quite an oversupply of apartments in Batumi. And if you compare it, let's say, to Tbilisi, Tbilisi's old town, beautiful old town, I have to say, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, you can't actually build anything else around there. And indeed, many parts of Tbilisi, it's difficult to find land to build in particular in the central parts. But this is not the case in Batumi. So I think, again, this gives limited scope for increase in price. Number 3, have you noticed, if you're following Batumi, the number of new buildings that are going up with 20 stories high? And if you're able to build high up, as well as on endless land, this is also going to depress the prices. So, for example, in Tbilisi, in the old town or around, you're not going to find skyscrapers like you are in Batumi. And the less you are able to build, the more prices will remain high. Number 4, in Batumi, 2/3 of buyers are actually foreign buyers. And I always worry when there's a lack of local demand for property, because if Batumi were to become a little bit less fashionable and buyers want to sell, this is going to depress the prices. Whereas I think Tbilisi is almost, yes, there are a lot of buyers in Tbilisi, foreign buyers in Tbilisi, but it's chiefly driven by the local market. Number 5, unlike Tbilisi, renting your property out in Batumi is going to be a little bit difficult. Why? Because it's difficult because it's a seasonal rental market. Now, you're likely to get tourists coming in for 4, perhaps 5 months of the year, but the rest of the year there are many apartments out there that you're competing with. So I think it's going to be very difficult outside the tourist season to rent your apartment. And as more apartments go up, it may be difficult to rent your apartment even in high season. Number 6, the yields actually in Batumi for apartments, the rental yields have actually been coming down in the last 2 to 3 years. But why is that? It's because, again, with more apartments being built, foreigners who come in on holiday have a greater choice. And when there's, it's the supply and demand thing again. And demand is elastic here. When demand is elastic, your prices are going to go down. Just too many apartments. So you're going to have to drop the price at which you rent your apartment. Number 7 as well is the exit strategy if you want to sell your apartment. Now, one big problem here is that you're going to be forever competing with new apartments going. As more and more new apartments come up, your apartment becomes slightly less attractive. And having to compete with a builder who has economies of scale, can offer discounts, it'll be very hard to compete against them. And this, I think, will lead to a drop in your property apartment, your property value. Number 8, what I also want to talk about is, let's say, a comparison with Bulgaria. So if we can look at the Black Sea in Georgia, I think it's very much at the stage of where Bulgaria was about 11, 12 years ago. So in that's about 13 years ago. So in 2007, prices skyrocketed on Sunny Beach and Golden Sands. But then there was a crash due to the oversupply of apartments. Now, I'm worried Batumi is actually going to follow this trend. And the problem is as well, prices in places like Sunny Beach in Bulgaria and Golden Sands in Bulgaria have never recovered. Yes, I know there was a drop in all across Bulgaria, but if you take the cities in Bulgaria, even Varna, big city on the Black Sea, Burgas, another big city, and Sofia, prices have actually recovered, but they've not recovered in the Black Sea coastal towns of Sunny Beach or Golden Sands. And I'm worried that Batumi is going to follow this trend. Prices are already dropping, but I think they potentially have further to drop, and they may not recover. Number 9 is I'm a little bit worried about the limited future market for Batumi. So if you look at where are the future foreign tourists going to come from, yes, I know more foreign tourists are coming in, but there's going to be a limited demand because people from Turkey will use their own coastline as well. They have endless coastline in Turkey and a lot of resorts to go to. So it's why would they choose Batumi? As well, I'm worried that Russians in the future are going to more or less go more to the Crimea than to Batumi. And again, people from the Ukraine are more likely to go to, let's say, Odessa than they are to Batumi. So I think potentially there's a limited market going forward. And number 10, I just want to give you some statistics and other reasons why I worry a little bit about Batumi. Now, if you look at the number of tourists going in every year in Batumi, percentage-wise, it's increasing, usually about 10 to 12% year on year. But if you look at the number of apartments being built in Batumi, they're actually going up by more than this. So a statistic like that tells me that the demand is going to go down. Another problem I think is that when I compare prices of Batumi with Sunny Beach, often, let's say in Old Batumi, they're more expensive than central parts of Sunny Beach. Now, listen to this. In Sunny Beach and around Sunny Beach, Golden Sands, and in those areas, salaries are much higher than in Batumi. So this tells me Batumi's potentially got further to fall. And again, I'll repeat again, I don't think there's a great prospect of future growth if you take Sunny Beach and Golden Sands as an example. But I do like Batumi. I don't want to say that it's actually going to crash. I hope it doesn't crash. I think prices have already come down in the last year or two, given the oversupply of property and COVID-19. So when eventually we can all travel more freely, you may be able to get an apartment at a much lower price. So at $25,000, $30,000, if you can bag yourself a decent apartment in Batumi, perhaps in the future you're not going to see a crash. I think if you like Batumi, by all means go and buy. It's a lovely place. You can use it maybe a month as a holiday, as a place to go on holiday, and rent it for 3 other months of the year if you can, even at a lower rental. That's fine. That will cover the expenses and make up for potentially any lack of future growth in the future. But compared to Tbilisi, I don't think it's a great investment. I think if you're going to invest in Georgia, stick to Tbilisi. Tbilisi has a lot more potential, all year round tourists, diversified economy, and the capital. I always go for downtown parts in the capital or the major cities if you can. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. If you do like my videos, do click the like button. Do please subscribe if you do like my channel, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. Have a great day and bye for now.